Ever wanted to roundhouse kick one of the most notorious terrorists in human history while fulfilling the American dream of shooting first and asking questions later? Then oh boy do I have a game for you today! Welcome to America's 10 Most Wanted, also known as Fugitive Hunter War on Terror, developed by Black Ops Entertainment and released for PlayStation 2 and Windows in 2003. This game is American propaganda at its finest. You play as a God-fearing American patriot badass who obliterates an extraordinary number of minorities with his vast arsenal of weapons while arresting all the big bad guys by beating them to a pulp, because killing them would be bad and America is never, ever the bad guy. Oh man, am I really gonna get political in a video review of a stupid PS2 game? Nah, don't worry, filth is my politics, filth is my life, take whatever you like. Okay, enough bullshit, the hunt is on for Osama, as it's time to dive into Fugitive Hunter and see what it's all about.
And capture rising. Where's Abdullah? He's been hiding, hijacking straight surprises, flying down, blowing up high rises. 500 soldiers in disguises. Hope I can make it out with my life as Fugitive Hunter. Market pay, market kill. Fugitive Hunter. Every day you gotta work that deal. Fugitive Hunter. Pick up the AK, feel. Switch your weapon, test your skills. Straight up war, that's the real.
Possessed with the quest, bulletproof vest, shot to the chest, the rest, only the blessed, stress the mess until it's time to leave the nest. All in your own in a new song, while the jump skills breaking like the dome. Who must it be? Ready my path for spiritual being. Lead to the circle of a roller ring, they blink, yeah, take a drink. Sick to the clink of the clan, blind from the map, can't see the hand fingers on live. Got to move down, never let it win, stronger than the pimp in the middle of this fugitive style.
The year 1999 has arrived. A herd of fucking ugly terrorists are rushing from the mainland. Crime rates skyrocketed. America is ruined. Therefore, Congress ordered the creation of Cypher, the Criminal Interdiction and Fugitive Recovery Task Force. Fuck, that's a mouthful. The military called Chuck Norris's relative, Lieutenant Jake Seaver, for the massacre of the terrorists. Jake is a killer machine. Wipe out all 1.2 billion of the brown terrorists. However, in mainland Afghanistan there was a secret project in progress. A project to transform Osama bin Laden into an ultimate weapon. Okay, I got that out of my system. But were you actually expecting a serious plot synopsis of this shit? We play as a generic military guy who must hunt down and capture America's top 10 most wanted fugitives. Yeah, they call them fugitives for some reason, not terrorists. Were they afraid of getting demonetized? I guess so. The game begins with Jake undergoing a covert mission to arrest all the top Al-Qaeda leaders along the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. Yeah, covered my ass. Our helicopters get blown out of the sky immediately, with Jake being the sole survivor. After killing everyone with extreme prejudice, we catch a glimpse of Osama himself and arrest the only guy left alive in this whole shit show, calling it a day. After this little prologue, we are taken to the main menu where we can choose which fugitive to apprehend next. Osama is the top G, of course, but as far as I know, you can also take down Saddam Hussein in the European version. Besides those two, everyone else isn't real, probably loosely based on actual criminals. But these are the most wanted terrorists in America. Surely they must all be badass motherfuckers. Well, taking a look at their profiles, you can see some of them are wanted for robbing banks, dealing drugs, or flying to avoid persecution. Seriously? You have that guy that's responsible for that 9/11 tragedy and you're gonna group him with some random bozo that robbed a bank? If that's all it takes to make it to the top 10, you might as well put the game dude in there, honestly. But yeah, that's the plot in a nutshell, pretty much. You travel all over the world, killing and arresting bad guys, with the climatic finale being saving a random prisoner and kicking Osama to the extraction helicopter anime style. What? Did you really think America spent years of planning and gathering intelligence while sending the best of the best to flush Osama out and finish him off once and for all? No dude, they just sent a single dorky soldier guy wearing fuglies, who then did the Paul Phoenix burning fist on Osama's ass and busted him for good. There's nothing else to it, no twists and turns, no characterization, just cheesy one-liners and tasteless shots taken from the real-life consequences of terrorism. Given the topics the game tries to tackle, this is quite bad. It's just an exploitative piece of propaganda made in bad faith. But at the same time, it's so hilariously cheesy that I can't help but love it. It ends up being so stupid that it's endearing in some way. I just wanna give it a noogie and send it off, silly game. Regarding the presentation, the game is kinda like America itself, getting the job done with the least amount of effort possible. Okay, I'm kidding. I love America, really. I'm a big fan of McDonald's and the M1 Garand, but the game seriously looks like ass. The textures are muddy, the models blocky, and everything looks dark and washed out. At least there is a decent enough environmental variety, with levels such as the dimly lit, rundown alleys of Miami, the barren deserts of Utah, and the tropical islands of the Caribbean. Design-wise, they're nothing special, but I appreciated the effort put into making everything look lived in, with various decorations and effects enhancing each scene. And even though the enemy design is stereotypical to the point of racism, I appreciated the detailed art style and the surprisingly polished animations. For some crazy reason, they decided to use motion capture for this horror show of the game, and you know what? It actually looks pretty good and adds some flair to the experience. Blasting my enemies and seeing them soar through the air dramatically or curl up into a ball really made me glad the Second Amendment exists. Along with the impressive weapon models and engaging shooting animations, the overall experience was quite enjoyable. However, a big issue is holding the game back, and it's the sound design. The sound effects are okay, nothing too offensive, but the voice acting is laughably bad, especially Jake's. For a hardened supermarine kinda guy, his voice is dorky and he has the wimpiest one-liners ever, like he's a middle schooler or something. Simply embarrassing, and that's not even the worst part. The music, while solid and well composed overall, is so unfitting it's hilarious. You'd expect a high-octane action game such as this to feature explosive orchestral tracks, right? Too bad, because all you'll be getting here is chill R&B, reggae, and rock beats to relax and murder people to. Why did they choose such relaxing tracks for our liberation spree? It's kinda unnerving. Is this what serial killers listen to in their heads while they commit their atrocities? Oh, whatever. Overall, I guess Fugitive Hunter looks okay enough. The graphics are subpar, but the mo-capped animations and the bizarre soundtrack create an atmosphere that's at the very least unique, in a weird but interesting way. Fugitive Hunter is without a doubt one of the first-person shooters of all time. We have all the classic FPS weapons at our disposal to destroy anyone threatening America's freedom, such as sniper rifles, machine guns, and shotguns. They are all satisfying enough to use, but the aiming is incredibly floaty. You can't change your targeting speed, and the recoil is worse than having Parkinson's and an addiction to cocaine. Thankfully, you can hold square to auto-lock onto the nearest enemy, and the shotguns are overpowered as fuck, having insane range and damage. So yeah, the game pretty much plays itself. The developers tried to make the experience a bit more challenging by introducing a life system and making the enemies deal tons of damage, but still the game showers you with extra lives, armor, and other power-ups, completely nullifying the game's difficulty. Don't forget the American flag that gives you invincibility when picked up, just like in real life. After the game's intro level, you have a selection screen of all the fugitives you have to capture, and each level has 2 of them you have to apprehend in special boss fights, which are as baffling as they are ridiculously funny. Why is that, you ask? Because they switch the gameplay to a 2.5D fighting game. Why the fuck am I punching Osama in the face? I have 20 different guns in my backpack. Just let me shoot the asshole. The fighting mechanics themselves are so simplistic that they make the experience almost pointless. You block when your meter is flashing, then press circle and triangle at the same time to automatically do a combo when the bad guy's meter is flashing, and that's all there is to it. You drain their health in about 2 or 3 combos and it's mission complete. Jake also kicks them after he's done handcuffing them, for good measure of course. Excessive violence? Geneva Convention? That shit is for pussies. Jake wants to practice roundhouse kicks on a live target, and by God he'll do it no matter what. Other than the mediocre shooting and the silly party cake masquerading as fighting, there is nothing else to this game. All mission objectives boil down to blowing up shit, collecting files, and interacting with random props. The level design is straightforward and repetitive, crawling with respawning enemies at every corner and frustrating jumping puzzles that become even worse with the floating controls. But despite the game's tediousness and laughable gimmicks, I kinda had a fun time. For some fucked up reason, the shooting is engaging while the firing is funny as hell. Pair that with the cheesy one-liners and the complete lack of a serious narrative, and the game actually manages to become an enjoyable experience. Not to mention there are tons of secrets and cheats to unlock, including live-action commercials and behind-the-scenes footage. It seems like the developers actually cared about this, but for some reason they were forced to turn this into an American propaganda game. Even so, it's still a semi-competent shooter and a fun little time waster, as long as you don't take it too seriously. I mean, how could you? All of that goes down the drain when you pull off a sick 10-hit combo on Osama. Fugitive Hunter is by no means a masterfully crafted experience. It's exploitative and tone-deaf to the point of it being almost offensive. But strictly as a game, it's not the worst thing I've played. The presentation, although barely average, gets the job done and the shooting is actually kinda fun. Even the Tekken fighting is so bad that it ends up being good. Despite the absurd premise, it's a slightly below average arcade shooter that has the potential to provide a few hours of entertainment. Don't think about it too much and you might enjoy this as well. And if you don't, maybe you're a terrorist, and Jake needs to handcuff you while bicycle kicking your head off, you damn threat to our democracy. Anyway, that's all I had to say about Fugitive Hunter, War on Terror. God bless America and the right to bear arms, I guess. Thank you very much for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, comment your thoughts below and subscribe for more stuff. You know how it goes. You can also support me on Patreon or become a channel member for early access to my videos and other perks. Have a great day and until next time, take care and have fun.